We will be back as soon as we can. Please stand and join us in the prayer and begin the pledge of allegiance.
Dear Lord, we ask you to take care of the military wherever they may be. We ask you to bring them back safely to their families. We ask you to please help us make the best decisions for the county.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Luana, what number is you? Luana wants to move hers up. She wants to go.
Well, I had some people call me last night on the citizens that want to be heard, and they're on the bottom of the agenda, that they feel that they have legitimate concerns to speak on things prior to the agenda that we're going to be talking to.
And if anybody wants to talk about an agenda item, they're more than welcome to do so before court, but if it's just going to be general discussion, we'll do that afterwards.
They want to talk about.
If anybody wants to talk about, Carol's got the deals, if they're to a specific number, they can talk about them. And if it's just going to be general discussion, we'll do that at the end. That way we can move business, and the people are here that actually for business, not just general discussion, we can get people out. There's people that got to go back to work.
So are you saying discussion at the item number or discussion
They can
right
discuss
now?
it right now if they have something to actually about an item number. But if it's just general discussion, that can wait to the end, so we can get people
I
to go back
agree
to work.
that it's got to be reference to an item.
Reference to an item number. Do you have anybody that's in reference to an item number?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I think people are still filling out forms because there were no blank ones prior to the meeting starting.
So what do you have, Cindy?
The first one I have is Mr. Yarder,
And what number?
31.
Good morning. Here to address item 31 on the agenda, $2 million in bonds for the jail, courthouse, and roads. This particular item is a little unclear. Don't know if this is to discuss whether or not to put this on the ballot, or we're just going to try to approve something today. We don't know how the amounts that are out of this $10 million that will go to the courthouse, restoration, or to roads, or to the jail. I know particular interest, priority of listing the idea of the priority of the courts of this commission report. First is the jail. If my memory serves me correctly, the commission court has already approved, I want to say $4 million for the jail construction. It's also my understanding that the estimated cost of the new jail has now reached approximately $11 million. My question to the court is how in the world did the cost go from original cost estimate of approximately $3.5 million to $11 million today? We're not trying to buy a Cadillac, we're just trying to go to jail. Until that is made clear, I ask the commission court to table this item until it is made clear to the public. The courthouse was approved by the public at a night during the last election, general election. Any further bonds should be treated the same way as with the jail roads. And it's important to consider is the Texas Historical Commission has had funding reduced to $4.5 million during this legislative session for the next 2 years. This means that the probability of receiving any further grants from the Historical Commission is slim to none. Also, of the $4 million already approved by the public, have we already sold bonds for that amount? And if so, how much has been spent today? This is a number that's unknown to the public. The courthouse is not a high priority item, especially for the 45% of the population that lives in this country, which pay approximately or 90% of the oil surge revenues to the county. Roads are, in my view, the first priority. Further funding for the courthouse should not be considered until such time that every road in Karnes County are addressed, period. Any further bonds should be an item for the general election for citizens to approve, not this commission court making a decision in the void. I remind the commission court that even though you have broad discretionary power, you are in fact still working for the citizens of Karnes County and not the reverse. We ask that you act responsibly and in the best interest of the public, especially those that live in the county and rural area and have today received virtually no benefit from the oil and gas production surge in Karnes County. Are there any questions? Thank you.
The next one I have is just on general discussion. It's not an agenda item. I don't know about Ms. Benson.
It's just, yes, it's just the email, I've got it.
Is it on an agenda item?
Yes, I'm trying to find it.
41.
What do you want?
What number?
41. Well,
Which EMS one is it, Ms.
it's, I was going to discuss EMS,
Is it about the building? About the building?
yeah, the options, yes.
About the options for the building, number 7?
But could I then, since I can't find it, could I give the option of?
Is it number 7, Ms. Simpson?
Number what?
Is it number 7?
7 or 8?
Yeah, that, 7 or 8. Which one was it? Yes, 7 and 8.
Okay, so you want to speak now on
And
number 7?
yes, and I would like to release my time to Betty Order, if I could.
If we start that, we're going to release time. Somebody can come in here and bring 10 people. and talk about it.
The rules say you can do that.
No, it doesn't. It does not say you can pass your time.
Yes, it
It does.
does. There are rules that were passed in the
I know what
Commissioner's
the
Court,
rules say, Mr. Miller. We're not going to do it. I'm sorry.
and he violated these acts.
Okay, well, we're
Then
not.
here,
I don't know what we have on the paperwork, but, just,
It's, if we extend that 3 minutes, everybody that comes in here and wants to do something like that. And I mean, I'm on the board of directors at ACOG. I'm on all these meetings. People sign up, they speak there 3 minutes, they go on. None of this ever happens anywhere else. It does not happen.
It may
but
not.
it's, you
It's not in
you
there.
did this in
It doesn't say
2011,
that.
it's
It
the
says
rules
we
of
can vote to
procedure.
Commissioner's Court to extend your time, but passing of time, no ma'am. If you want to sign up to speak, sign up to speak.
may I ask Herb just to clear that? Herb, when we passed the 2011, could you look at that and see if time can get passed or if it can get extended? Or what's your?
May I just look at it?
Yes, that's why I would be pleased if you would look at it real quick. They don't, I'm sorry, Judge, it don't take a minute or two and then we'll clear it. I think that's both of them, that's about everything. We should extend it on both, but I don't know what pass, so I'm asking for you to look at it.
That's great.
That one right there, I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, everybody else is just sitting out here, so I'll read this to y'all and we'll see what it says. The Office of Attorney General just complains about us that are bogus and lack integrity. The business of Karnes County is conducted by and
Excuse me,
between the
If you're
members
gonna
of
make
Karnes.
Mark.
Karnes County Commissioners Court by those members of the staff, elected officials, department heads, consultants, experts, and members of the public requested to be present and participate. While the public is invited to attend all these meetings of the Commissioners Court except for executive session, the public's participation therein is limited to that of observee unless a member or members of the public is requested to address the Commissioners Court on a particular issue or issues, or unless the member or members of the public completes a public participation form and submits it to the county clerk prior to the time of the agenda item or items addressed by the court. A sample of the Karnes County Commissioners Court public participation form is attached hereto as exhibit. Each member of the public who appears before the Commissioners Court shall be limited to a maximum of 3, and then in parentheses, the number 3, minutes to make his or her remarks. Time for each speaker shall be maintained by the county clerk or such other designated representative of the Commissioners Court. Maximum discussion on any agenda item, this goes to B, regardless of the number of members of the public wishing to address the Commissioners' Court on such an agenda item, shall be limited to 30 minutes. In the event that more than 6 members of the public wish to address a particular agenda item or items, then only the first 10 members of the public recognized to speak shall be divided equally between those members of the public wishing to speak for the agenda item or items, and those members of the public wishing to speak against the agenda item or items. In matters of exceptional interest, the court may report by the majority vote of the members of the court in attendance at the meeting, either shorten or lengthen the time allocated for a particular member of the public, all members of the public, and/or the amount of time allocated for all agenda items and/or specific agenda items. It is the intention of the court to provide an open access to the citizens of Karnes County to address the members of Commissioners' Court to express themselves on issues. There is no, show me where it says pass. I can't find it.
Point of order. Point of order.
Show me where it says pass.
I request a vote on the Commissioners' Court to address the Commissioners' Court regarding the statements made by the presiding
You
officer.
sit here and say we were violating the Open Meetings
You-
Act.
you just-
You're not addressing the
Excuse me,
agenda.
you just made a
There's order
slander,
in this
you
court.
just made a slanderous remark towards
No, I
people
did not.
in this room.
Mr. Fedori, you can either behave and sit down, or we can move on. This
If
is
you're gonna
every
make,
day.
if you're gonna make comments about people that are sitting here that are not on the agenda, then I have a right to respond.
Mr. Fedori, you can either stop disrupting this minute or leave. And we have all these law enforcement officers in here.
Yeah,
There's no
Yeah.
reason for this to go on.
that's right.
You're the one that's made the comments.
You accuse us of violating the Open Meetings Act and we're not.
Bert?
I don't see anything here. Maybe I can talk to Betty when you sit over. No, I'll visit her. She probably, if it's in here and she wants to point it out, but I don't see it at this time. The commissioners can extend the speaker if they want to, but I don't see anything else.
Comments that you made were about a letter that was sent to the Attorney General. It has no place in here, but if you want to address it, I'm ready to respond.
Mr. Fedori, again, you can either stop or you can go.
Could you look into this a little bit further after the meeting and everything and come back with us on it? You said you didn't hear anything on it about changing the time that they want to do, like passing the time?
And I don't see any what Ms. Rogers would me, but maybe she can point it out to me and maybe I'll look at it. As you get through.
Ms. Simpson, do you still wish to speak?
Oh,
I would just say that we have options for the EMS, and my asking is if you consider that probably it would solve many problems if we went out and hired somebody to do it, if it solved problems with the court, if it solved problems with the county. And so I would wish that you would consider that very carefully.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Schroeder, are you speaking on item number?
On item number 41, citizens to be heard should be addressed before all items, not last. General discussion, if that's what the court wants to do, at the end of the meeting, should be so titled as general discussion and address whatever is done as they want to in the meeting. The citizens should be allowed in this county to speak up before an item is reached on the agenda so that they can have an opportunity to make their thoughts known and their perspective known to the members of the court. This court has an obligation to the citizens of the county, and that obligation is to remember that they are paid by the tax dollars that are contributed by the members of the county, the citizens of the county. And that's something that doesn't seem to be apparent to the presiding officer of this court. And this is where we get into problems. It's like the issue of who's going to post the agenda and where does it get posted. The statutes are real clear as to who issues the notice of the meeting. They may not be clear as to who posts. But posting is not the most important aspect to make the meeting not be a void meeting, the actions taken in the meeting not subject to being voidable. Then the citizens, it must be addressed in the manner in which it has to be issued by the county clerk. And issued under the eyes of the law means having to be addressed. If it's simply stamped by the clerk's office, it's sufficient to make it an official document. But if it is not stamped and does not go through the clerk's office, it is not an official agenda. And so therefore, any action taken at that meeting is subject to being voidable. If a citizen files suit, which is a violation of the Open Meetings Act, to have a meeting that has not been properly posted, or properly issued, I should say. The notice hasn't been properly issued. And the posting is not the biggest issue, or not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the issuance itself, having it stamped by the clerk. And that's what this court needs to make it sure that it doesn't get caught up in, is the actions which would make it a void or voidable act. And that's what my concerns are, that the court wastes time and the actions are subject to be with a lawsuit, just simply a lawsuit that alleges the violation of the Meetings Act because you don't have, you haven't properly issued the agenda, which is under the eyes of the law, the notice. Thank you.
Just so there's no question about that, I talked to Alice and Ron, and they both assured me that that could not happen. That we were following the Texas Open Meetings Act to the T, and we were fine. Until Jim or Ross or Herb tells me different, or something on the face of that is just totally bogus. So now, Luana, you want to move to your item?
Starting with number 24.
Number 24 is acknowledgement of appointment of Luana Casper as county auditor for a 2-year term, 7/1/13 to 6/30/15.
The order is being filed in the court records. It's just a matter of the court acknowledging it, so it can be filed.
Are you going to follow one? And then the next one is the same thing for Michelle as first assistant county auditor for 2 years, 7/1/13 to 6/30/15. Number 26 is acknowledgement of Gina K. Courier as the second assistant auditor. Curry, what is her name?
Gina?
And I copied and I pasted this, but I don't know what I did. For 2 years. The number 27 is to discuss, approve, disapprove, entering into a no-cost contract with the Department of Public Safety for access to employees driving records and authorize the county judge to execute. This is a service formally provided as a courtesy by the Texas Association of Counties that has been discontinued.
Herb has reviewed the contract and has said it is fine. And here's the condition.
Mark, we need to fill out the exhibit A form before we find this out.
Yes, I will give you full compliments.
What'd you ask me to do, Herb?
We just need to do the exhibit A that's attached to the back of the contract.
So do I sign it now?
Well,
If
And
this
Luana,
address
this is for the county to have access to the driving record, like we want to hire somebody, or we have
Correct.
insurance time.
correct, to verify
That's
that
all,
we
make
have
sure that's
insurable
clear.
drivers and that they don't have offenses or restricted license or anything like that.
That's all, I'll make sure that.
And the attachment A that Herb is referring to, it is just what will come from our office because we will be the ones contacting. It will be the URL addresses, the reason for the access to the driver's license records, and whether or not we would be releasing the records to any other entity, which we won't. They will just be maintained for in-house use.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 27 as presented.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. The next one on the agenda is to amend the county judge's budget for computer relocation costs associated with the move of offices from 115 North Market to 210 West Calvert for $665. Texas copy fix number 1721 partial and number 1725 is the C attached. And number 1725, that's the $545 to move our computers. That's 3 computers at Sylvia, myself, and Alex. And then 1725 was approved for the moving of the access for the 5-port switch requested. Well, Juan and I, we're not in agreement on this, but if you look at these Bills. It costs $545, I guess, to move our stuff over here. And that's on 1725. And then on 1721, there's a charge for $120 to install a wireless access point on the west side of the building. And the reason that that was installed, Luana said that, I guess, JD had one in here, and then it was taken out when they moved. Well, Lynn Ellison came in and asked us that the state is paperless, and he said that they needed it, and he came in here, some big old guy from the Office of Attorney General, this supervisor, I can't remember his name, they talked to Sylvia and more than they talked to me. And then some of the district clerk staff came and talked to Sylvia and said that they needed wireless in the district courtroom to be able to conduct their business. So I asked him, I said, was there not wireless in the building? There is wireless in the building, and I see people using computers in that other room. I said, yes, it is, but some people won't give out their access codes, some people will, and we have to have that to be able to function, because we're paperless. And they said, so we're not able to do our work. So when Sylvia talked to, and her and Jeff texted, so I don't know what they said, but when Sylvia talked to Jeff, they said that they needed it. We don't need wireless, we're all landlines, we don't need any of that stuff. And when I asked Lynn, I said, how come that they were using this one? And they said, because not Jeff, what's the other name? They would give them a code, and the other codes that were accessible, there was another code that was accessible, would not give them a code. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. District business has got to run. So I did say that Jeff could put one in, but it was so district business could run. We don't need it. I mean, I don't need it at all.
Okay, for clarification from my point, I submitted the agenda item as typed up into my name as author. The additional information following the asterisk is what Barbara has put into the agenda. I assume for clarification. The cost of the wireless port and the wireless access and the 5-point port, I believe, is considered a cost of the move, because if JD would not have been relocated to the other office, there wouldn't have been a need for another access point. That's why I classified it as part of the move expenses and from the judge's budget, because that is how it was invoiced.
That might have been how it was invoiced, but it was needed for district business, and it's not Ag Extension's responsibility to supply the district court, which is Office of Attorney General, Child Support Court, and everything else that the county should provide the state to be able to function. I mean, if we went to any other courthouse and they told us we couldn't use wireless because Ag Extension went there, we would laugh.
Well, how do other computers, iPads, iPhones operate in this building without having a code?
I don't
Shelby's
know.
got his iPad, my iPhone.
I've got mine on a card.
Is that
Where
what-
I go with my
But this has
card.
been a service that's been provided. The provider needs to be paid, just like other agenda items previously that have been amended post-service. We need to pay our supplier.
But I don't think it should be amended from my budget because it doesn't benefit me. I mean, there's no reason that, and we have to allow the district offices to work, and that does not fall under the realm of Ag Extension to provide OHE, that's Child Support Court, that's Child Protective comes in, they are all wireless. The state is a paperless service, and the county should provide them, not Ag Extension, the county.
I'm a little bit confused. I don't know if I'm confused, the public might be confused too, I'm not sure. But, okay, on the other one, of course, I voted against the move at that time, but you're saying that the 120, if you would have moved or not, that still would have happened?
No, because some of them,
I just want a clarification because I'm confused here.
I'm
I
confused too,
apologize.
because let me tell you this, some people will give out codes and some people won't. Some people had access to codes and other people didn't. There was a code access that would pop up, but people were not allowed to use the code. And so I think Lynn Ellison's exact words to me was, JD was nice enough to allow us to use his code. And I said, well, this shouldn't be done on a nice thing or anything else. The county should be providing district offices the ability to do their job. We're an arm of the state, that's Child Support Court, Child Protective Court. If it was any of us and we went to another courthouse and they said, well, Ag Extension, we can't provide that. I'd be like,
Well,
what?
my question is this, who in the heck knew about this before Extension ever moved out? Somebody had to know
No way.
that Lynn Ellison, OIG, whoever they are,
OAG?
was not happy receiving internet issues. Was it district clerk, was it county clerk, was it the
They
sheriff's
can't-
office? Who in the heck knew? It's my problem, my question. If somebody knew, then why wasn't this brought up before a long time ago, so we wouldn't be having this discussion?
I don't know, they came, Lynn talked to me for about 3 minutes, but then they talked to Sylvia more than that. Sylvia texted Jeff back and forth.
Because this has been going on for a long time. Has it been going on 1 year? It's been going on 6 months? What? Because somebody needed to know that this wireless, that they were having problems getting wireless connection that they had. So somebody in this court, in this building, needed to know, had knowledge. Why did they not say something so this could be taken care of before now?
I agree with that, Shelby, but some people will allow code, some people won't. I don't need a code. We're all of us in here have landlines.
Again, it goes to computer security. It's like, you protect your computers, that's all there is to it. And the wireless network, do you give out your key at home? So if you do, you're crazy.
Well, but the district judges, the OAG has to have it. They have to have it, they're paperless.
We know we're supposed to get paid, that's for sure. No, the services already got done. But the argument right now, we're debating right now, is 120, where it's gonna come from? That's where we're, and you're,
Irregardless, the budget's gonna have to be amended, irregardless what line item it's from. Because it is on the county judge's bill, that's why I did it here. There is not a general Karnes County Court computer line item. That would have to be created to be able to amend the budget, to put something there, to pay something out of. The simplicity of it is to do it as presented.
where if it does it as presented, it gets amended, it gets paid for, but it
I
shows.
just wanted noted it, that it's for the district offices, it's not for me. That has no benefit to me whatsoever. Sylvia's got a computer hooked up, there's a computer. I mean, it looks like we're over here trying to, I don't think any of us even bring in a wireless device. We don't have, if I need something, I have a phone. My phone has all my stuff on it. I don't need to use the county stuff for anything.
Okay, we're gonna pay this bill or not?
So,
I don't mind paying it, but I want it
How much
noted,
we pay the bill?
and I'll second that motion, but I want it noted that as presented, I want it on the minutes as presented, that is for OAG. It's not needed for my office. I do want that.
Whenever his motion is, is what will the minutes will be.
Can you make a motion to capture it as written, including the fact that it's for the Office of Attorney General and the district offices?
I'll make that motion that way, just to say that we can move on for the sake of continuing the business.
you've already made a second.
All in favor, say aye.
I'm gonna eye on that, and I got one more thing real quick. I didn't vote to make this move, so I'm gonna pay for them just for the fact that the service has already gotten them.
And then the next one is to amend the county judge's budget for costs associated with IT consultation regarding social media websites for $170. And again, I made notes on that one too, because I don't know why that was put on my bill, because Shelby and I both talked to them for the court. And then there was another one where,
It goes back to the time when we had this big issue about Facebook. And I was asked to talk to Jeff about, just see what it would take to do, just an email or two, that was it. Little phone conversation, nothing was ever done. That was it.
and then there was a meeting set up that I did not set up, that Jeff went and told, I guess, Mr. Hancock, he was so concerned about our servers and whatnot. Poor Herb was freaking out, thinking that something was wrong, and we needed to talk to Jeff, and Herb set up a meeting. And how, again, that got on my bill, because when we came in here for that meeting, I think Jeff sat there, Shelby sat here, I sat here, and Herb sat there, and I think for the first 2 minutes, Barbara was present, and then she got up and walked out. And it was, to me, it was just a wasted meeting. And we got billed $85 for that. But I don't think that my budget, again, should be amended for a meeting that somebody else called.
Okay. To further clarify that, the bill came in as county judges. It does not say who called the meeting. It says County Judge and Shelby and other county officials were involved in the meetings. There is not a line item for countywide computers. We have it in the bill. It was on bills for the judge's office. That's why the amendment is there. It doesn't matter. The money's going to be amended and put in and paid out. We just need a motion so I can pay the bills.
But what I'm trying to prevent in the future is if somebody calls a meeting and I walk by, is it gonna come off my budget? Or if I walk in and say hi, that's not, I don't wanna get to that point, because none of you would want your budgets amended for that reason either.
Well, all that needs to be ascertained at the point of the meeting, and you direct whomever is doing the meeting and gonna charge us how to bill it.
Well, and also it does say in the statute that Jeff can testify to these bills to you. If he would testify that I was the one that called the meeting and did all that, you can swear him in and you can ask him what happened. I mean, he's just presenting bills, and that's a meeting I wasn't even at. I don't want to be paying for meetings I'm not attending. And we can pay it for the sake of paying it, but I also want it noted that I didn't call that meeting, I didn't set it up.
But you were in attendance.
For 2
Even if
minutes.
it was just 2 minutes, you were in attendance. It's just,
So if you don't call a meeting and you walk into it for a couple of minutes, and you see that it's worthless and you walk out, would you pay it out of your budget?
it was billed to me and I was in attendance.
I wasn't in attendance, Lorna. They all stayed here. How long did y'all stay here?
35 minutes, 20 minutes.
So I might have been here 2 or 3. I gotta know.
It
It was a meeting I was invited to.
Okay, would you rather leave it in Mr. Hancock's budget?
I think that one needs to be moved to Mr. Hancock's budget.
Still going to involve an amendment.
I move that we take.
Well, even if we move it to his, we can't, because that's not what the agenda item, that's not what the agenda item says, so we just take no action, or we put it on the next, we cannot just move it to his bill, because we want to.
Well, and if not, we can amend it, and you can amend it for my budget, but I'm just telling you, it's not my stuff.
I move that we amend the budget, from the judge's budget.
But I want it
As presented on
which
this.
includes the request by Shelby and myself, and that I did not call the meeting. I want that on there. Will you capture that for me?
Okay.
Thank you.
That okay, or? I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Now let's move on.
I just wanted to move on, we could.
What else you
And
got,
then
Luana?
number 30 is to amend the AES budget for computer relocations costs with move of office from 210 East Calvert to 115 North Market.
Again, that's the cost of moving the computers and resetting them up of the extension service from this building to the 115 North Market. It costs $355.
And I did, they had 3 computers that they moved also, and I asked Jeff why their bill was so much cheaper than ours. He said JD did most of the work himself.
As presented.
James?
I'm gonna second it again, but because they have to get paid, but I didn't vote on the move, so just to, y'all could, I want to acknowledge that, I didn't vote that, but we
All
gotta
in
pay.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Luana, let's try to do one just before you leave. I mean, there's one thing that I want to look at before you leave.
What did I still
Oh.
report to you?
Oh, hold on that one. Just hold on to that one. But look at number 31. This is discuss, approve, disapprove, selling up to $10 million in bonds for the following projects: the jail, the courthouse, and the roads. I talked to Luana briefly about Bob telling us that the interest rates were going to go up, but I think it was just, that's all I told you. Then I told her. I don't know, I got confused yesterday, but
I know you
anyway.
talked to James about it, because he told me about it.
Okay.
I met the judge.
What
and I
that
met with you.
is this is selling the bonds. The bonds have already been approved by the voters. There's no more voter approval, there's no more anything else. I think we had $7 million on the jail, $4 million on the courthouse, and $3 million on roads. Is that correct? We had $14 million in bonds that were passed by the voters. Okay, interest rates are gonna jump up come July 1st. Bob called and said, you guys can sell, it would change our classification if we tried to sell more than $10 million. But we need to break down the $7 million for the jail, because the jail's getting ready to start. We have to have that money to be able to pay for the jail. So we need that $7 million. And before the interest rates jump, we need to decide how much we want to do on the courthouse, and has anything actually been spent on roads versus $100,000? We don't know. But I know a lot of the courthouse money has been spent.
Maybe a total of $200,000 might have been spent out of the road bonds so
You
far.
think it's that much?
It's between 150.
Okay. What about the courthouse?
I don't know what the total's been spent,
Okay.
but we are gonna have our required match out of the courthouse anyway, that's gonna come from our funds. How much activity are we gonna do in the next 2 years, since the historical commission's budget is very limited? We aren't gonna get awarded total amount. Do we want to borrow the money and be paying the higher interest on it than we'll be able to earn at the bank, when we aren't going to be doing activity because of the fact that there's not state money?
And see, that's why this was on there like it's on there. We gotta get the 7 million for the jail, right? We're to that point. Herb and Lorraine finished that sometimes Tuesday or yesterday. Sometime they finished that. And do we want to take out anything for the courthouse and the roads, or do we just want to do the jail? But we just need to sell before the interest rates go up, and they're running up the slide right now. So what would you think?
Well, as far as the road, you need to talk to Ronnie about that, because that bond is explicit to materials and the transportation of those materials. That does not mean that you go out and contract services to spend that money or anything else. So therefore, is Ronnie going to propose in his budget to purchase the materials and get them hauled wherever, and then in his normal budget have contracting costs in there to take care of these?
So do we just want to sell for the jail right now? Do you think that would be the best thing, is just sell the 7 million for the jail and nothing else?
Well, again, I think we need to know what Ronnie's plans are budgetary.
To respond to that, we've consumed all the funds in this current budget year for material. We put a full-time crew on the bond projects. We're going to consume between now and the end of the budget year a considerable amount of it. But I don't know how much. It's not fair for me to say how much of those bonds we should approve. We need to approve some of them, because I don't have any money left in the budget for materials.
Well, we've been paying bond-related purchases because they did a resolution for reimbursement.
I understand that.
But we don't want to sell 3 million of them if in the next year.
We're only gonna
think
use
we might use
500,000.
one.
I agree.
Right,
Right.
because we don't want to pay interest on them.
I understand that.
What do you think, sell a million?
Maybe.
A million?
Yes.
So you want to, so the way I have this is worded up to 10 million, because we don't want to go over 10 million, that is the next bracket, that's definitely not 10 million. But these are already approved by the voters, and we have reimbursement resolutions on all of them. And now we're ready to go to the sell point. We've already done the rest of it through the court, it's been on every agenda. So do you think we want 8 million? Think 1
That would
and
be a
7?
feasible recommendation.
So do y'all want to approve up to 8 million? So Bob can do this before the interest rates get us?
I'm fine with that. 7 going to the jail, 1 going to the road?
Yep. And you want to capture it as 7 million for the jail, 1 million for road?
Yes.
And none for the courthouse? Let's just say 0 for the courthouse
Yes.
right now, Luana? Is that your motion?
Yes, that's my motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. Okay, Luana, do you want to do your report right now?
Yes, I know. I gave y'all all copies of the fourth report. If you will go to the back page, the items of interest, as of May 31st, total county funds available, $25,228,086.64. Total non-invested funds as of May 31st, 2013, $471,175.62. Sales tax receipted in May of 2013, $762,227.21. Sales tax receipted in 2012 for the same period, $550,379.13. That's an increase over the 12 months of $211,848.08, approximately 38.49%. The Texas Historical Commission reimbursements on Phase 1, the reimbursements are current. My office is currently in the process of preparing a reimbursement request for Phase 1 in the expected amount of $56,777.55.
Well, you said, I noticed a little note here that May sales tax decreased from April sales tax by 41,000. Is that a trend you're starting to see?
No, it's going up and down every month. This month, our June receipt was more than May's. So it just has to do with whatever activities going on.
I know you were concerned back in January, in February, it was
Right.
sliding, but it's kind of holding anything.
Well, it's coming back up, but, you know, it's all relevant to the activity.
Okay.
Is that everything that you want?
That's it. Except for the bills and Michelle will be here to take care of it.
Okay. I think, let's look at some of the items too real quick that, number 7 is going to be scratched. Number 23 is going to be scratched. Number 23 is going to be the last sentence, right there.
On Wednesday?
Yes. Let's go to a couple of folks here that I know that they need to get back to work. Let's go to number 13, acknowledgement of. Yeah, I can do Ronnie much quicker than I can do Ronnie.
Okay.
Let me do Ronnie first. Number 13 is the acknowledgement of San Antonio River Authority's certificate of substantial completion in regard to the removal of Karnes County Hospital debris from the bank of the San Antonio River at Walker Crossing Road, County Road 326. Ronnie was here, did he leave? There he is. You guys a substantial completion in there. Find it? Yes, that is it.
All right, sir.
Well, what I did, Ronnie, is just when that became such a big issue that I figured that we needed to put on record and on file that the bank, nobody sees the beautiful, pretty clean that picture with everybody standing at the bank fishing, but if you drive out there, you'll see it. It looks great. And so, since it's been complete, so the citizens will have a look at what you saw in your substantial completion, we put it on here.
Okay, great. And I just want to make a quick statement. We're very pleased with your quick and decisive action in removing the debris. We issued the letter of substantial completion a week after it became published. And just pleased that Judge Shaw and the commissioners actually put their protecting the citizens and the environment. And TCP will fix its commission on environmental quality. If there's anything else in the report.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all your help in working with us.
Thank you, Ron.
Then let's skip to number 15. That's review discussed contract with Rogers Side Elementary and Rob Incorporated in regard to demolition of the old elementary gymnasium in accordance with plans and specifications prepared by Virgin Environmental Services LLC dated June 21st, 2010. I put that on there. I put the contract in your package and I gave a copy of the contract to her. The only reason that we had to look at this is because it's another one of those things that we did not have a contract with anybody to be able to haul all that stuff out to Scott Kimball's house. Dr. Kimball's deal there at the precinct yard where all that metal sticking out and stuff. There was a contract between the school and Rob, similar to the one that we just did with the hospital where all that stuff got done, and we reviewed their contract. But if Mr. Hancock is going to look at pursuing anything with Jeff's bond, we'd have some of our money that we're going to lose on both of these. We're going to have to prove that we did not know, nor did we have the contracts to approve any of this dumping that's been done. And so we have to go through Karnes City's contract and give a copy to Mr. Hancock to be able to provide to people that he's got to prove himself to. So that's why that's on there. And so I think I gave you one, didn't I? I mean, I know you looked over one, but I think I gave you that TC's. And I know you and I looked at this, but we did not find anything that would implicate us in it, so we would be able to move forward with Jeff Bond. Is that correct?
I just don't have to look at, I've looked at so many things in the last week.
I know, everything's going on. And I think the bottom line is we did not have a contract with anybody for us to take that material and dump it out at the precinct yard. It's the same thing with TEC, which is the other contractor for the hospital. We did not have any involvement in that. We just became involved through somebody making a verbal deal with somebody else.
I looked at the contract from the school to the provider who moved it off the school, I think.
Right, that's the one I gave you. And that's all we had, Mr. Hancock. I cannot find any contract between that contractor and Jeff for us to be able to do that. And I mean, for us to move forward with the bond, we're going to have to be able to prove that.
And I think it's about 3 years old when we moved about 3 years.
Right. But there is no contract with us. And so that's going to take us to, let's just look at number 16 while we're here. It's discuss, approve, disapprove advertising for bids to remove the discarded building materials from the Karnes City Rogers Side Elementary Gym located at County Road 343 and 344. That's the Karnes City Precinct Yard. The amount of materials out there is quite a bit, and it's going to require that either number one, somebody go out there and work on it a lot, or number two, somebody remove it. Verbal quotes that I have or anything like that are well over $50,000. So we're going to have to go out for bids to have that removed from that site so the competitive bidding process can be honored. So I'm just asking for permission to see how much the bid will be and see if it will be good in October 1st. I need a date for October 1st because we're gonna have to put it back in the budget. It's not an unforeseen circumstance, it's not an emergency, it's not anything like that. So we need a bid date good by October 1st. And I need permission to bid it out. Because we were looking at getting it because we thought we were gonna be able to get it and be able to like move some line items. That's not gonna happen. It's way too expensive to move all that out of here.
I'll make it to approve item number 16 as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Okay, and then if we go back to number 14, that's gonna be the exact same thing. It's going to go out for bids, advertising to remove the Karnes City Hospital debris from piles along the side of County Road 326. That's also gonna exceed $50,000 probably. And you got the taxpayers paying for all the huge supplies. So we're gonna have to go out for bids on both of those, on that one as well. Because it's going to exceed $50,000. And on that one, we do have to have the materials that are dumped on the side of the road tested before they can be put in there. And so the testing is going to be an additional cost that's going to be put in that bid. Yes, sir.
Before you make a motion on that, I went out and visited that site yesterday. There are more material there than what came from the hospital. There's a substantial amount of older concrete and debris farther back from the bridge. If either of you have been out there, you know what I'm talking
We have
about.
pictures of it.
I would like for that material to be included in the bid.
Well, and I think, Lonnie.
I think everything that's on the side of the road that's been piled there should not be there, should be removed.
Well,
But it didn't come from the hospital, so if you limit your motion to the hospital debris, I don't know if we can include it in the bid.
those piles only came from the hospital. Those building with all that wood and all those shingles. and all that-
There's some further
There's
down.
some further down.
That's something else. It's inside of a fenced area?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something else.
Okay.
We're just talking about the bridge, all that stuff that.
I'm talking about the material inside the fenced area. Do we want to remove that while we're, I mean, if we could get it all in one bid, we could get rid of all of it.
No, I think that should be a different issue.
I think that's gonna be a different issue because we have to pay for a testing process for this one.
Well, I understand that.
And so I don't
But
pay
when
to
you-
have that other stuff tested.
But we'll
Right,
put
you don't
that
have to
on
have
the-
the other stuff tested, it just would be,
But we can
do
go.
we
off
want to
of
consider moving all of it at the same time?
We
Yes, sir.
can, we
Fine.
can. And whoever we bid with can do that, we can kind of talk to them and see if they'll pick up the other stuff.
Right.
So, anyway, we're still gonna have to
Thanks,
advertise for bids. And I'm gonna ask for that one, I guess, for October 1st, a bid that would be good by October 1st also. Or, you know,
I'll make it to approve item number 14 as presented.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then if we go, let's see where we're at now. Is Brenda here? Well, I don't.
Probably do those without her.
I think so, but just as a courtesy, I wanted to see, but it says discuss approve number 5, discuss approve, disapprove appointing Brenda Yanisek, tax assessor collector to calculate the effective and rollback tax rates for the year 2013.
So move this presented, so we need to calculate the tax rate.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Discuss, number 6, discuss approve, disapprove waiver of 1.5 vacation days carryover for Tammy Broadway pursuant to Karnes County Personnel Policy Manual Policy of Vacation, Section 201, page 2 of 3, item 11.1. Tammy had scheduled this vacation time, but was not able to take off the time before her anniversary date due to workload and staffing issues. She has since used this vacation time.
So move this presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries 3-0. I'm sorry, I didn't do that. Did I do that on number 5? Motion carries 3-0 on number 5. Motion carries 3-0 on number 6. Number 7 is the scratch. Number 8 is the acknowledgement of a memorandum of understanding between Texas Regional, as Dennis and Stacy Kelly, and Karnes County for coverage.
Verb.
I know y'all talked about this.
I just need the approval of the court. The contract that we're talking about is a contract month to month for $1,000 for a 12-hour shift.
The monthly fee for services for a 12-hour shift continuously.
But it's an agreement as needed for at least a month or a month to month time. Just need the approval to go ahead and include that in the contract. It's $1,000 for 12 hours. And it's triggered by the new administrator you hired. He calls and asks for the assistance of the
Dennis has done a great job providing coverage for us. I have one bill pending that I'll have on the agenda next Wednesday. But thank you for taking care of our citizens. You've done an outstanding job.
I have got a contract that I need for him to look at that's ready.
And if you have it ready, we can put it on the agenda Wednesday. Do you have a minute to talk to him after the meeting, Dennis? Okay, you want to move it to Wednesday then? Surely. If you don't want to change this, we'll move it to Wednesday. Let's get together after the meeting and then we'll just,
But the main thing, I just need your approval to include the $1,000 in the contract.
I think that's the agreement he's made with all of us. So I think, when we've talked to him about price, so we have our position. I don't
And
think we need
specify
to-
to the administrator to be, he be the main.
I saw it
person.
there again. I don't think we need a motion on that, because it says acknowledgement of the memorandum, so we can't make that decision, but if you and Dennis get together and write the contract, we can put that all on the agenda for Wednesday, how's that?
Okay, it's a memorandum of agreement, basically.
Memorandum of agreement is what they're calling it. And you're gonna spec that out today, Herb?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And then number 9 is to discuss, approve, disapprove, allowing the architect to order a survey for the existing EMS road and bridge site. That's Lorraine.
In order for us to move forward on developing the best layout and plan for your EMS site with Road and Bridge moves or in the interim, we need to get a survey of the property. I've been working just off of the Google map, but it's not, accurate to the point that we need it. Mr. Pollock has agreed that because of the urgency of the situation, that he would be able to, if approved, go out and do the field work next week, within a week, and get us the survey within a week, which is very quick, 2 weeks time turnaround. He estimates $1,500 if we can approve a not to exceed of $2,000, so that when the civil engineer gets his information, he has to make a trip back. We have an allowance of $500 to cover an additional trip back if we need any additional information. So I would request we approve a not to exceed price of $2,000 to achieve the survey at the existing EMS/road and bridge site to allow us to develop further planning.
Well, wait a second, Lorraine. You already budgeted, you have money in the budget, right?
Well, EMS and road and bridge is not budgeted yet because we're in the process of planning. There's money budgeted for, I believe, the road and bridge and EMS buildings through the auditor's office that we haven't been using. So
How much was it? Was that the $2,000-$3,000 budget items is what we're talking about?
yeah, this $2,000 would be within that money. There was enough money budgeted to allow for the planning services.
I think it's about that.
So you just want to not to exceed, we really don't have to do anything. We already have the money. You just want us to do,
To approve ordering the survey.
Okay.
Yeah, allow us to order the survey,
There you go.
and the amount would be
not to exceed $2,000.
to be paid for out of the current road and bridge and EMS budget.
Not to exceed $2,000. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we allow the architect to order a survey for the existing EMS road and bridge site not to exceed $2,000.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And actually, that would be, we don't have it in there as $2,000. We would have to add that to our motion. We could approve it as written, and then we could have a caveat of the fact that we, not to exceed $2,000, because that's what we've decided that was on the agenda. So you want to capture it that way, Shelby? Would that be in your motion?
I'll
Would
second
that
it.
be in your thing? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Okay, motion carries 3-0. Number 10 is to discuss, approve, disapprove, allowing the architect to order a geotech for the existing EMS and road and bridge site.
And again, in order for us to do our planning and budgeting for what the building will cost, the geotech will tell us what we need as far as our building foundation design requirements, which will affect the pricing and the cost of the building as we estimate. And so I would like to be able to order the geotech for the existing EMS and road and bridge site also. Be authorized to do that, and the cost of that would be paid for out of the existing road and bridge planning and EMS planning budget.
Make the motion to approve item number 10 as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Number 11 is to discuss, approve, disapprove an amendment modification number, and it's T0010 for ICE detention management contract. The purpose of the modification is to incorporate the ICE 2011 performance-based detention standard. I'll make y'all a copy of that, because it's right here. Look, that's all it says on here. when they modify their contracts, all they are doing is incorporating a performance-based detention standard, which is for GEO. It has nothing to do with us, and since we're their pass-through people, we sign their contracts, just like we sign their bills.
Which facility?
ICE.
The one up on the hill? or
The new
lower?
one, that'd be the new, ICE is the new
Oh, Lorraine,
one.
wait a second. I'm sorry.
ICE is the new one.
ICE is the new one.
Do you want,
It says ICE. And we take it off their stuff verbatim. And the other one that you're looking at is the second one. That's for the order of supplies and services. The first one's on top.
We need to prove that, right?
Yes, sir.
We approve them 11%.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 12 is to discuss approve, disapprove contract number EROIGSA 11004 for the order of supplies or services for ICE. That's when they order supplies and they change their supplies, they have to let us know because we're the lead on the contract. If they've changed some stuff, we just have to approve their order.
Approve item number 12 as presented.
And Lorraine, I'm so sorry, I skipped over you, so we're going back again. Number 17 is to authorize the judge to sign the Texas Historical Commission supplemental funding award to the Karnes County.
you didn't vote number 12?
I'm
No,
out.
we didn't vote number 12?
No, you didn't.
Did you approve it, James?
I second it, but we
Oh,
never
all in
voted.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. Number 17 is to authorize the judge to sign the Texas Historical Commission, I put the one in there. The Historical Commission Supplemental Funding Award for the Karnes County Courthouse Phase 1A.
And essentially, it's just a formality. When you were awarded the supplemental funding for the foundation Phase 1A repairs, this letter updates the agreement that you have with the Texas Historical Commission, and it's required to be signed by the judge.
Make a motion to authorize Judge Shaw to sign the Texas Historical Commission supplemental funding award for Phase 1 foundation repair.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. Number 18 on the agenda, thank you. Number 18 on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove, designating the judge and/or a member of Commissioners Court authority to review the lapsed depository contracts in accordance with Local Government Code 116027. No applications were submitted when we advertised for bids. The lapsed contract is with the Ball City National Bank. The first time when we needed an extension, James and I went out there and talked to Mr. Sekula, and I think that it was oversight that we just didn't get bids. And so if we can have approval for either myself or for James or for some of us or one of us or two of us, and we can designate who it is to go out there and meet with Mr. Sekula again and explain our situation. So August 1st, Vi has a place to put her money.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 18 as presented.
Can you tell me who it's going to be? Do you want
The judge.
me? Okay, can you capture that it's the judge?
It will be the judge in the motion.
Capture a new word now?
Yes, captures a new word.
And can I say something on that real quickly?
Okay.
Technically, we can keep the money in the bank there, even though we don't have a contract with them, because the statute tells you that you can put it in whatever bank you want to. It just, they would go back and charge us with the checks. They do not charge us for checks. So if you and I want to have a conversation,
You want to go with me?
I would like to go with you. Thank you.
Why don't you go with me?
Okay,
Okay?
that'll work.
Did you second our motion?
I second it.
All in favor,
You already
say
voted.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0.
Right, yeah.
Number 19 is discussion action in regard to County Road, Boston, and 19 is discussion action in regard to County Road 160, establish posted speed limit for vehicles at 25 miles per hour pursuant to the Texas Transportation Code, Subtitle C, County Roads and Bridges, Chapter 251, General Authority relating to roads and bridges, Section 251, 154, maximum reasonable and prudent speeds on county roads. And that's Commissioner Dubnik and Mr. Jett.
Mr. Jett, I put that on the agenda. I met with Mr. Jett. He had a concern about the speed limit on that road, and I've talked with Deputy Pierce as well. That road was posted, but it was not posted correctly. It never had authorization by the court. And Mr. Jett called me, and that's why I put it on the agenda. Mr. Jett would like to address the issue.
Okay, Mr. Dupnick is
done wonders for me out there on that road, because there was nothing but dirt and dust, and it all come to my house off this road, see? But he went out there and put this material on there to settle that problem, which I really appreciate that, Mr. Goodman. Also, the speed limit signs, it's been a problem out there ever since we've been there. You know, they've started business out there, which I'm glad, that brings in money for the county. You know, and now there's another business to start out there, which the road was made for Model Ts, not for big trucks. Therefore, we either need to reduce the speed or make the road wider, and I think reducing the speed is the most logical explanation. Then anyway, and I want to thank Mr. Pierce back there, Mr. Swayze, and Dwayne, because they have helped solve part of the problem. And you all on the court have helped me a bunch too, so I really appreciate it. And another thing I'd like to say is this speed, the only way we can slow it down is put the speed limit at 500, that way they can't go that fast. I realize that I ain't the only one that's got this problem, and I was asked if I would say this to the court, that there needs, out here on these county roads, there is no set speed limits. So if they give a ticket out there on these county roads, they can drop it right there. I mean, there's no speed limit. They can go 60, 70, 80 mile an hour out there because there's no set speed limit. So I was asked maybe if you could look that problem over and you know, put it down to 30.
You know what, Mr. Jett? I don't know, I might be wrong. Jim, you might be able to answer that. Can you answer that?
That's right.
Uh-huh.
County clerk.
You want to leave 2 extras so
Judge is correct. State law, if it's not posted, it's 60 miles an hour, so there's nothing we can do about it. But we, the sheriff's office, we'd like to see Commissioner's Court to put proof and safe speed, no county road over 30 miles an hour. If there's any special roads, then you can do it like Mr. Dubnik's doing now, such as Mr. Jett's road at 25. Because as far as that, we don't have an enforcement tool, unless you, Commissioner's Court, can pass that for us. The law is 60, unless the Commissioner's Court has the authority to bring it down to 12. It needs to be this prudent for the citizens with all the increased oil field traffic and things.
And Jim, I checked with what, I made a phone call and found out we have to do each road one by one.
Oh, really?
So if,
We have to specify that road by, I asked about a blanket,
Right.
and say all, and I was told, I made 3 or 4 calls, and I got the same answer.
And we don't have a road out here that should be more than 30 miles an hour. We're not, with the increased oil field traffic, it's just dangerous. No road, even some of our county, our farm roads shouldn't be at 70, it should be at 60. Because we don't have any shoulders because the condition of the highways out there is dangerous. You go on 887, it's like being on a roller coaster, 70 miles an hour.
And what I was talking to Jim and Russell the other day, the man walked in the office and first thing he said, slow them people down. He gave me a list of some more roads, so I'll be the one, I'm gonna be submitting some more roads next meeting.
just submit us number 40 County Road.
Why can't we just get Ron and go ahead and submit us all the roads, and put it on the agenda, we'll knock them all down to 30, with the exceptions of the ones that are 25.
That's right.
We've made a list of roads that the county has already set a speed limit on. We have those available for
Right.
us. We'll make a list of those who have not been seen.
And we can do each and every one of them one by one. And then it'll be on court record for you when you give a ticket at a stick.
Right.
We can put it all in one agenda item, just every
It
road.
might be pages.
We, the sheriff, that's fine. At least we know if a highway patrolman goes there or a constable finner, he knows we don't have a county road that's over 30 miles an hour. Except for the roads that are posted at 25
I've
special
got
roads.
7 roads already that I've set, and I've got about 5 more coming.
But Ronnie can give us a list, Jim, and we can get it done, boom, 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 boom.
One other caveat to that, it has to be posted, even if the court sets the limit.
Yes, sir.
If it's not posted, it can't be enforced.
And it may take us a few days to get that many signs posted. One of the items, it's on this way, 60, there's a no truck sign out there. They've taken them all down for some reason. I don't know why, I guess they wasn't legalized or something.
There used to be a no truck sign on Cemetery Road in Fall City too. I don't know if it's still there or not either.
But, you know, they went in there and reinforced this bridge, that's the reason the sign was put there. But now, I've seen big trucks with big loads of 90,000, 100,000 pounds across that bridge. So, you know, I guess that's the reason they took the signs in there. I don't know. You know, they went in there after this person, you know, said none of these signs were legal, so they went in and took every sign down except the.
Ronnie will have to look at that. I don't.
That is a concern. It's happened on some of the other roads that somebody's come by and hacked them off.
Ronnie, I was gonna have,
Wish they did that.
on the speed limit signs, like, I know they have to be posted, like, one, like 277 inches on one, and it ends up on another one, but a lot of them T-bone those. When you're coming in or out, we'll have to figure out how to post all those too, because you're coming in off of a long 8-mile road and you've got T-bone 4 times. Somebody's coming out of there, we're not gonna put a sign in between all those, only in the front and the back. You know how people wanna fight tickets all the time? We have to figure out something on that.
You know, and I think it came down to some of those county roads are teeny and there's nobody that's lived there, and there's just a house at the end, and you'll see those people, you know, just go down to that one road that's theirs. And so I know we'll get some complaints about, why is my little itty road, but it can be done. We can list them all.
The sheriff's office, road and bridge, TxDOT, we're no different. Highway patrol, we're understaffed, we know that, we're doing the best we can, and appreciate all the help that you can give us.
So we can work on that.
And he's right.
Okay, so we're back to number 19. Thank you for pulling all that up. Number 19. Any action?
I move that we approve number 19 as presented, County Road 160.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0.
Okay, might be in 2025.
That's what it
Yes,
says,
sir.
Mr. Jennings.
Okay, thank you very much for the support and the sheriff's office, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll try to get that done. And another thing, I've said to them, they need to change that 160, they need to give me a sign because they call it Jet Boulevard. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 20 is discussion action in regard to County Road 184, establishing a posted speed limit for vehicles at 25 miles per hour pursuant to the Texas Transportation Code, Subtitle C, County Roads and Bridges, Chapter 251, General Authority relating to roads and bridges, Sections 251, 154, maximum reasonable included speed on county roads.
That's me again, County Road 184, it's off of FM 99. There's a lot of oil field traffic out there. I've spoken with the Gillies and also with the Sharton people, with the families, and they are saying the speed is out of control again. It's heavy traffic, so I'm asking that the court approve the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Make that motion to take that action in regards to County Road 184. Agenda item number 20.
I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. Number 21 is a repetitious one. Lorraine and I talked about it, and I typed it on there, and then she brought it to me, and I put it back on there. Number 22 is, so number 21 will be passed. Number 22 is discussion action in regard to setting part-time employee allowable vacation time. Example, 10 hours worked equals 10 hours vacation, 20 hours worked equals 20 hours vacation. Hours worked will equal hours of vacation. Shelby.
I put that on there. There was a question about the request of some of the part-time supervisors, mainly the library people. They had some people that I guess weren't getting their vacation time. It's kind of unclear. So I'm asking that to be put into policy by any comment.
Just when will it be effective? Will we have to make it effective today and then they have to wait their 90-day or their year? Because vacation, you start accruing it as soon as you're hired, but you can't take it till after you complete 1 year. Do we do it that way, or do we make it retroactive to their actual start date?
Most of them have been here a year already, right?
That's Betty,
She's been here for 4 years.
almost 4 years.
The effective
Dixie,
date
is there
is
anybody
usually,
else?
you know,
Not in the language.
from today forward.
From today forward.
So if they have the time, they can take it. Unlike, we can't go back and do 10 hours for every year they worked prior to the day.
Okay, no, let me make it clear. can we use their start date as,
The day they started.
the day they started, they'll be eligible, but they can't go back and retroact vacation that they
That's right.
earned beforehand.
The vacation will become effective today.
Today.
The start date's still the same, vacation starts today.
They don't accrue, we can't make up for
No.
the last
That's
3
right.
years.
Can't go back
Okay,
and make your pay retroactive
Okay.
for 5 or 10 years.
okay.
I'll move it.
With the start date being
Their service date.
service date.
Thank you.
It's up to you guys.
I gave it a lot of thought. I've had information from, I guess you could say, both sides concerning this matter. I have some people who came up to me and tell me that part-time should be part-time. It shouldn't have the vacation hours. And I've been juggling this around probably for a while now, trying to make a decision on there. And I apologize, but I don't have a full decision on it. I've been working on this really, really hard and hearing what everyone has to say. And it's only gonna be a few part-timers.
Correct.
Yes, and it's based on hours worked, I'm like, they get the whole.
I understand. If it's 20, it's 20, I understand.
It's just a little incentive to some people who don't want to work full-time, that want to work part-time, but, you know, if they work every day, can I speak? I'm talking. That work every day, you know, they may work just in the mornings, 5 days a week, and if they, because that's what their staff needs them for, so if they want to take time off, then they have to take it off without pay. And they're working because they need to work, but don't really want to work full-time because maybe daycare is a problem or
I'm sorry, how many part-timers did you say we had about 10?
probably less than 10. Most of it's, a majority of it's in your sheriff's department, in your, what's your doing in here? Like your dispatcher, jailers. There's some part-time positions in that. The library only has 2, but Donna falls under the old rule of, was here since 1999, so she already earns vacation. So Betty has 1. The JPs have 2. Sean's been with us probably for 12 or 13 years with no vacation. Tax office has a position for a part-timer that she's filled.
I have one part-time.
Carol has 1 part-timer. So your dispatcher jailers, with no offense to the sheriff's department, but they seem to kind of roll over a lot. They don't seem to keep part-timers very long.
It's just and also, you know, with current,
I understand.
people are working everywhere, it's just trying to maintain this.
Most of those part-time people are gonna end up getting benefits anyway. The 30 hour
Yes,
a week.
if we don't
They're gonna end up
change
getting
that.
insurance, they're gonna end up getting everything else.
If you go to 29, you know.
Yes.
Yes, and so, you know, we're not gonna park anybody at 29, that would start a woo-woo, and
So you either make everybody full-time or, and,
so we're up to that 30-hour thing anyway. We're
Right.
gonna have to hit that 30-hour.
correct.
Because there's some kind of movement going on
With
out
the
there.
healthcare reform, come January 1st, you have to do a timeline. So by the end of next year, on average, if you have worked 30 hours, we have to pay your health insurance.
Right.
So,
When does that start? October 1st or January?
well, January 1st, but then you have a picture frame that you use, and everybody's using a year. So in December 31st of 2014, we have to go back and look at what your average is. A lot of the counties have made their part-timers 29 hours or less.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, number 23, you already skipped. I cut off the last sentence, I didn't put it back on, but I'll be back on there Wednesday, okay?
Number 30, what number?
Number 23. I pasted it to an empty Word document. Number 32. Wow, Bonnie, bless your heart, where are you?
Are we ready?
We're ready for you.
Okay.
Come see us.
Number 32,
Is discussion and possible action in regard to an AT&T bill claim for damages in the amount of $511.39.
Judge, I provided you a copy of that bill.
I got
Basically,
a copy. Looks like this.
The auditor's office brought this to my attention. This was a bill that was incurred a substantial length of time prior to my employment. Apparently, there was some damage done to an AT&T phone line by a motor grader. So that I could address the court on this issue,
I discussed it with Homer Rios. He and I went back and pulled the records, and the standard operating procedure, if we're gonna be digging in an area, is to contact AT&T, or if there's gas lines, the gas company, or whoever. In this situation, no one was contacted. So, you know, I'm not saying we should pay this bill, shouldn't pay this bill, but I really believe we're probably liable for this bill.
You're saying all y'all were doing was, I'm sorry, blading the road?
No, sir, they were making an entrance for a private drive.
Okay.
Was that height?
There, when I talked to Homer about this, there were 2 incidents, and he was not sure if this was one going through the pipe or not.
This happened on October 1st, 2012. So,
Homer and I went over this yesterday, so it'll be fresh on my mind. And he could not remember if this was the line that was in the pipe as well.
He didn't call, I bet he called 1-800-DIG.
it's our fault.
It's our fault. But again, there's a minimum amount that these utility companies are required to bury their lines.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I mean,
but if we fail to
completely
call,
agree.
if we fail to call the 800-DIG, we're in violation.
So I think we're gonna have to pay it because, I mean, we did it.
Because sometimes when I would call them, and we pop phone calls like that before, but I already would call and goes their
Right,
mistake,
yeah.
they marked it wrong.
Michelle, you know what we need to do? We need to see, does he have a line item we can pay this out of? Or are we gonna have to, can you make a note so we can do something for Wednesday?
Can do that, yeah.
Okay.
Do you think he has a line item that can come out of?
I think we can bet out of miscellaneous and if we need to transfer.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want it onto your phone or.
This is, I don't know if this can come out of phone, it's damages.
Yeah, I would rather bet out of
Damages.
miscellaneous.
We don't have anything
Better.
for damages, but we can code it as that, just going to
And
miscellaneous.
take it out of another line item? Okay.
But it's our, I'm with you with that.
I second it. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. Number 33 is discussion possible action in regard to the use of donated road-based materials. That's Ronnie.
Again, DOG has offered to give a substantial amount of reclaimed rock. Because of the situation the county's gotten into, by accepting donated material, I wanted to be very cautious to cross my I's and dot my T's, make sure this material was not contaminated with building fluid or anything else an issue come up. I contacted the Railroad Commission for their approval, disapproval, yes or no, don't use it, whatever. And they responded, and I've again given the judge a copy of that response. So just take a minute and look at that. I've discussed this with her. And we just want to make a good decision.
And this is what it says. This is Ronnie. In response to your question about whether or not the county needs Railroad Commission authorization to use crushed rocks in the demolition of equipment pads, foundation as road base, as long as the rock material is not contaminated with any exploration and production waste or norm naturally occurring radioactive material, it would be considered inert waste that would not be subject to Railroad Commission jurisdiction. I hope this helps answer your questions. Please feel free to contact us if you have any additional questions. So as long as it's not contaminated, and you could ask them if it's...
And the Railroad Commission holds all the drilling companies to a very high standard on contaminations. And if they spill 5 gallons of fluid, they have to report it to the Railroad Commission. So we would have access to that information.
Ronnie, also in reference to this road-based material, we need donated material. We need to make sure we're recording what it
Yes.
is, who it is, how much it is.
Volume,
Like an
location.
in-kind contribution?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
We're doing that on water also. They've also donated water, and we've been using it.
There is legislation on that.
Yes. And I know that there used to be it was kind of iffy about whether or not, and this is odd, precincts can accept it, but unit system was always questioned. So now the legislation has been clarified to allow the unit system to accept.
So we need action on this, or?
Yes.
just no?
We need action in regard to the use of donated materials, the road-based materials.
Move that we approve number 33 in regard to use of donated material, road-based material.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. Number 34, discussion action in regard to an attachment for application for road permit for county road entrance use and voluntary maintenance and repair, and that's Ronnie.
We have a
the court before, I think James was probably the only one that was a member of the court at the time, enacted a rule prohibiting private citizens, private companies from doing road maintenance work. Do you recall that, James?
Yeah, and I think it was back about 4 or 5 years
It
ago.
was in 2010.
Yeah, I brought it up because I had one guy that I told to stay off the county road with a backhoe, and every time I went out there, he was on it.
Right. I was working for the county as a probation officer at that time, I remember this.
Yeah.
The issue is, there's a statement in here, and again, Herb and I reviewed this, and it says without permission of the court, or without permission, a private citizen or a private company cannot do road maintenance work. Time has really changed. We've got bona fide, bonded, insured companies out there doing construction for the oil companies. And they routinely blade roads, put down hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of material, and I don't want to tell those folks they can't do it. So I've come up, and again, Herb and I reviewed this, and we have an application process where when they're going to be making an entrance for an oil field location, they have to have a permit. Through our permit office, permit process, it would be very easy to include the language to allow them to do maintenance on the roads. So I'm asking the court to take action to amend the language in the permit application. And Judge, I gave you a copy, but
Yes,
I've
sir.
got several here.
I put one in their packages too.
And the language we've changed is in the heading for the road use, and then we just added voluntary maintenance and repair, and then we added that same language twice more in the body of the application. And Herb and I both feel like this would suffice in making it legal for them to do road repair work.
We'll just need action.
And these are gonna be
They're
looked over by you?
These are going to be, Tracy and I have gone over this, and Tracy has agreed they're going to eliminate their old application form, and they'll start using this new application form today if y'all approve.
Only thing I would rather you do is that, I would rather you have, also, I agree with you, but I'd like to have a date that this thing says that it's our effective, what date, so we know what number we're looking at, like effective today's date or effective.
You're saying you want the form to have an effective date?
Yeah.
So we
Sometimes
know.
forms
okay.
just say
We could just, yeah.
June
I understand.
2012 or
We can put a little
2013.
And then-
notation effective.
Then if there's a
June 20,
revision,
yeah.
some kind of
June 28.
revision,
We can do that.
so we know what date we were looking at. when we were
Okay.
looking at it.
So I make a motion.
What, I'm sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
one other question, Ronnie.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna oversee this, right? The
No,
maintenance
sir,
and
no.
repair.
Tracy
Tracy?
and Alan Hans.
Uh-huh.
We have a permit employee who's full-time job.
And they'll oversee the
They
maintenance, that they're
yes,
doing
sir.
it correctly, what they're putting on there?
Yes,
and all
sir,
that. Okay.
absolutely. And Alvin's an employee of mine,
Yes,
so
sir.
yes, sir, I'm responsible for him.
Okay,
But we,
okay,
okay.
thanks, Ronnie.
So on number 34, I make a motion that we approve the attachment for application for the permanent road county entrance as use of voluntary maintenance and repair. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. Number 35 is discussion action declaring Caterpillar motor grader surplus vehicle identification number 72B11234.
Okay, this issue came before the court 3 weeks ago, and you agreed to postpone it until I had an opportunity to review it and make a recommendation to the court. Since that time, I've gone over the issues, and this is a combination with the next item on the agenda. And RDO is here to make a presentation on that. Basically, there has been an agreement worked out to trade this motor grader as equity on a dozer that we've had and been in a buy-down plan on a rental purchase agreement. So I request that we declare the motor grader surplus material so that it be legal to use the motor grader as a trade-in.
Is that a 12 or a 14?
Honestly, don't know, Shelby. I brought the VIN number, but
That motivator is a
14G.
140G.
What, 120?
140G.
140G?
Yeah, and that's what we spoke about the last time, making this surplus, right?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
I'll take action on declaring Caterpillar motor grader surplus Bid number 72B11234, item number 35.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. Number 36 is discussion action accepting RDO's buyout proposal and motor grader trade-in. Buyout proposal includes accepting the motor grader as trade-in.
I've asked David to address this one. Come on, David.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm David. I'm with RDO Equipment out of New Braunfels, Texas.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. This is a proposal that we started 19 months ago. We're in our 19th month of the RPO. And right now, with the motor grader trade-in and with all the money that y'all put into it, the amount of cash that would be needed to complete the transaction would be, it's a little bit lower than last time, it's $16,212.55. Since the last meeting, we've had one more billing into the rental, so that brought down the amount of extra
16 what again?
needed. The cash order would be $16,212.55.
Ronnie, this is your
Yes, sir.
recommendation.
We have the funds in our budget to complete this transaction, and I think it'd be an excellent opportunity for the county. We're going to get a piece of equipment that's worth $90,000 for $16,000. So that's
Wait, hang on a second. After all the...
yes, sir. I know it's not free. I understand that. But this is a good, in my opinion, a good purchase for the county.
I move that we accept the RDO's buyout proposal, motor grader trading. Buyout proposal includes accepting motor grader trading.
Do y'all give me permission to execute the,
And get judge permission to execute the contract.
With a buyout of $16,212.55.
he has a right to.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And,
Ron, oh, sorry, honey.
And I appreciate the court. Oh, we got one more.
Got one more, man.
Sorry.
Number 37 is discussion action in regard to permission to enter private property to access and remove debris from county roads drainage, County Road 145.
Okay. With the court's indulgence, the reason this item is on the agenda is I was asked to do some debris removal from a drainage area that continuously washed dead trees, debris into a bridge and clogged the bridge up.
It's our bridge.
It's our bridge. It's on County Road 145. We've been out there all week cleaning debris out from under that bridge. So, and I have not discussed this with her, but I apologize to her, but I've just had too many things on my agenda. I want to make sure that before we go on anyone's private property and do any work, that it's legal.
That's a good thing.
But it's our bridge that's causing the problem.
It's our bridge, and I understand
Our bridge.
that the state law allows us that, so.
I want to make sure though, it's our bridge, but some of the debris that came there came from upstream going downstream.
Yes, sir. And there's more debris in that drainage area that's obviously going to come back into the bridge. So it'd make good sense to clean it up, to get it out of it. And we have permission from the property owner to just move it out of the drainage area. That's all we're going to do.
How many property owners, property are you going to enter? One, two?
There's only one we're going to enter. It affects two, one on the upstream side, one on the downstream side. The gentleman on the downstream side has actually helped us remove the debris from the bridge, but we're not going on his property. We need to go upstream.
I took pictures prior during the flood time, what it looked like, and it was a pretty bad problem. It was backing water up, further up the road. You can look at the fence line and see all the stuff hanging on.
Sure. Yeah, it's up to the top of the fence in places.
And I know they've been working out there pretty, cleaned up quite a bit, inside between the ditches and everything.
So you just need permission to enter to go clean the
I
bridge.
want a legal document to do it. What do we need to do?
I guess we need to give her permission to draw up some type of agreement.
Well, I mean, Herb can do it for him. He doesn't need our permission. Herb's everybody's county attorney. We can draw that up for him.
That's okay, Ronnie.
I mean, he just wants us, I mean, if we say it's okay, we can capture to give her permission to negotiate with Ronnie about this, just so we know it's being done. Is that okay by you, Herb?
My motion is exactly that, right there.
Okay.
Giving her
Permission.
Ronnie.
And then to execute a document saying that it's okay, but we're gonna give him permission to say it's okay, and then Herb's gonna execute the document, okay? So, would that be your?
That's my motion.
What is your motion? Say it again, please.
Okay, to go, I'm giving permission for her and Ronnie to, or for her to write up something that it's okay for Ronnie to go onto this certain private property. This doesn't mean all private property, this is just stating for County Road, the bridge under County Road 145.
With our blessing.
I'm
All right.
probably going to do an agreement between the landowner and us
Okay.
for permission to get on this property.
Specify the scope of work.
Yes, and specify the word.
What would be just removal of debris,
That's right.
something to
For the benefit of the road, the bridge.
So let's just give Herb permission, we'll give Herb permission for him and Ronnie to do this.
Hey, I'm sorry, if there's a better way for me to say, it, tell me. But I know exactly what
What
we
about
want to
number
do.
37 as written with Herb's permission to execute a agreement with the landowner?
It's fine. Number 37,
To execute an agreement with the
execute
landowner.
an agreement with the landowner.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. Number 38, volume.
Everyone should have a copy. Yes.
If you guys will wait, I'll run y'all a copy of this contract.
And just a note, and basically more Ronnie, your guys, we are closed Thursday for the holiday, but we are open Friday. So Friday is technically payday, so no checks will be issued until Friday morning. But there are some that come like Thursday night, about after 3, to pick them up basically for the road and bridge guys. But it's going to be Friday morning
Because of the holiday.
because of the holiday.
Okay.
It's Friday, we can't move payday because we're open on Friday. Like during Thanksgiving and Christmas and payday falls on a closed holiday, we can move it, but it will not be moved. So your guys are more the ones that
Okay.
get things that day, so they can, you can pick them all up, or they can come in our office Friday morning. Just let them know.
In volume, I want to have the exact same numbers. They did the exact same thing, so we just need to have motions and signatures.
I'll make a motion to approve item number, line item number 38 of the
I second it.
And just let everybody know, I became a Nana again Wednesday night, we had another boy. Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I didn't know she was pregnant.
Yes.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. The next one is payment of bills. Do you want to make the bills? Oh, sure.
I got it.
Does everybody else have a copy of the bills? No? You got one? Do you have one? Did Peter Tracy say anything if they had any questions from anybody that wanted to say?
You did mention that.
Purdue and Brandon, they collect the JPs as well? That's what it says.
We're speaking out to Davis Teller. Yeah, Davis Teller.
Oh, okay.
I have it, I just want to give it to Mark, please don't leave it out.
She just wanted y'all to
maybe look at, got a couple of items in there. We have a payment to that salary survey, salary survey, and like 200. We have a quarterly payment to the appraisal district. And we pay their quarterly payments on. A couple of payments. Martin Marietta, road insurance, for the paving of County Roads 211 and 231, for like over $12,000. We made payment to the lease contract with the rental water truck, over $6,800. Sheriff's Department had an addition to the licensing of officers' truck. Put a couple of things in there, like over $200.
Okay, Judge, you said the other day we had 30 beds, right?
And GO, yes.
So why are we going to Livo County? Hello, Sheriff's Office,
I don't know if Dwayne's here.
Chief Deputy.
Brother-in-law.
I mean, if we only, I understood it was like 18 beds, so we only had 18 people in jail, so why are we going to Live Oak or anywhere else? I mean,
Now, I know females go to Wilson.
I understand that, but I'm just trying to figure out why we're still going to Live Oak if we have beds here. Because that's sensitive, I mean.
And then you do see in there, while you're talking about that, there's $2,250 that we pay to Dr. Desaguera to see our inmates out for a jail. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 10 or 5.
How many inmates do y'all have at jail?
Approximately 15,
So how many do you have at Live Oak?
1 or 2, and then 1 or 2 at Escosa.
So if we have 30 beds at jail, why don't we use them all 30 beds? You know, or is there?
No, sir, but I can find out from the
Special
sheriff. Yes, sir. I'll call him right now.
Because if that's the case, you know, whether we, you know, that's causing us to go on the road more, you know. And the Dr. D is here, as you say, so.
And we still have to pay for that, too. So they're not giving us that.
Commissioner Dugan, if I may, some of those prisoners that are Live Oak and Anacostia, they are little problems, and so GEO won't accept them, so that's why we take them to other jails.
I mean, their problems with jail won't accept them, they have a right, they can't handle them.
I don't know, sir. I can't speak for GEO. But I'll find out though for you, Commissioner
Thank you.
Dugan.
Everyone can be, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think there's all the time. Nobody's ever told me that if there are problems, so I know they take our major NH1 problems out there, GO. Never heard of that.
When you pay bills, we got to pay bills.
You made that motion?
The only thing that I've been asking again is if we have our own weigh station, why are we using the co-ops? Can we not use our own?
I would think, but it doesn't.
But I think, I had that answer once before.
Yeah, didn't they just discuss that with us the other day?
Yeah.
I mean, could they ask for a key? They have to key, they have a key. It would be cheaper for us. I mean, even with $30 a month, it's $360 a year. Yes.
Jim was right there.
I don't know where you're at.
Jim?
Can we not use our own weigh station? Can we not use our own weigh station to weigh the trucks, Jim?
If you're closer, you can. Sure can. But if you're in Lundy, it's closer to go this way or with the traffic, especially with big rigs, trying to cross over one way or the other.
Because I know we said that we haven't used it before, but if it's more convenient, we have to use it.
We have one now.
Yeah, the gym was that on the road, you driving around, he's not sitting there waiting, he's out there actually physically.
No, I see him, but I see him.
Still.
a lot too, so.
I have to go all over the county, so I'm limited. If I'm in Rungy, I'm gonna go to the co-op scales or the truck route with the ag scales, because if you've got a big 18-wheeler, I can't get them over there.
It's just proven to.
It'd be dangerous to take them over that way. It's easier to take them down the truck route.
You ready to do it?
Hold on, oh gosh, am I right on the original copy? I sure am. No, I just made some little boxes.
I'll second to pay the bills. The only ones I'm gonna leave out of my motion are the special counsel because of reason, and as that I asked for something, but which would be only these two, Judge.
Okay.
Are the only ones that I'm leaving, but the rest of the bills are fine.
What page was that, James?
Page 2, Judge. Just those two.
All right.
That's just for various things.
And then the,
Several offices can do that.
okay, and then, so I make a motion to pay bills as presented.
Shelby,
He made it.
Oh, okay. Shelby, did you have anything from EMS that you wanted to abstain from before we do this?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0 with James's copy done. Did you go initial those? And then we still have miscellaneous items on citizens to be heard.
No, wasn't.
If y'all left with any copies of the contract for RDO, if y'all want them. Next item on the agenda is to adjourn. Second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Just like one second.